I want to like communicate a message to coders.
Coders.
Coders, people that like to code. And I'd like to be able to communicate to coders the message of being able to use their skills to reprogram themselves and humanity more efficiently. And I feel the way that a coder's mind works, along with the understanding of purpose and themselves, they'd be able to really connect the dots in a way that us
Mere mortals.
mere mortals wouldn't be able to see on our own.
Right.
So if you know any coders, point them my way.
I'm not in touch with a bunch of them, but I used to work with a lot at the last company I had worked with at. Coders have a very interesting, they have to think on multiple levels, because that's how the work happens too. There's like layer upon system upon system, working with multiple coding languages as well. The way their mind has to work is very organized, and they have to be able to both be very finely detail oriented, because one wrong line of code can screw up everything, but also be able to step back and see how everything works together in tandem. It's a very difficult job, and I honestly think I'm so glad to see that a lot of the young kids in the Oneness Academy are starting to play on these like very elementary, but still coding based games and platforms to get them into the mindset of learning how coding works.
Yeah,
the
like that.
very basic fundamentals. There's things like Scratch Junior is one of them. Code Spark is another one that I see the kids working on, where they can kind of make like different. They can make games. They can make just different like videos or tableaus, digital tableaus, and put their own kind of elementary coding in there. But they're into it, and it makes it fun, and it makes them think about the sequence of things and how you set that up. It's such a valuable skill. I think it's as important as learning arithmetic or language arts. That's probably the skill that should be, I believe, personally required for young people nowadays.
It seems to be you have to have it because, as you can see, a lot of the mundane jobs that AI is going to replace them because they're more efficient, they're better at it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fast food places, self-driving cars, like these things are going to be automated, and the minimum wage isn't going to keep you employed if you don't have skills to the real world, if you don't know how to add value to things. And so if we can't add value with our physical filling in the blanks because those jobs aren't efficient enough and we can't add value in those fields, we need to start thinking more creatively. And that's why I like getting to kids first. And for other people, I would just advise like just look into different aspects. Maybe not like if you're 50 years old and you're a truck driver, you probably don't want to get into coding. This is not, but there's got to be something else. We got to be able to shift our thinking so that we're not left exploited. And this is why I like the sense of small community, because in a large, giant federal sense, like this is where bureaucracy gets in the way and the end user doesn't get the needed help that all the funds were raised for. It just goes through the middleman. But on a small community level, like if there was a truck driver in my community whose job was taken, our community would step in and help this person get educated in new fields, provide him with necessary water and food and shelter and whatever else is the basics needed, and influenced in a positive way. But in the real world, in the outside world, people feel alone, and they're just cradled in their ways, and are looking for help from big government to come and save them. And I would just like to stipulate that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save us except for ourselves. And the only thing there is to do is for ourselves and for our family is to just take action, start shifting our ways of thinking to more empowering beliefs about ourselves, where we believe more in ourselves, believe more in our ability to make things change in our life. And it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of effort, because you also have to surround yourself with people who want to believe those things. And so it's not going to come easy, but when it does come with persistence, it will be well deserved. You will earn something, and that's the best feeling of having actually created something, actually added value to yourself, to your loved ones. It's priceless, and there's nothing else that can give that to you. You could only give it to yourselves by putting all of these other things together and kind of guiding your life in a different direction than it would have continued to go if you would just leave things running its regular program.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, do you want to learn coding?
I would like to learn at least the basics of coding.
I think we should learn basics. I know, like, it's probably not, well, at least not at the moment, because I have a lot of things going on, not to the extent of me going to like a coding camp and like straight learning all this stuff. But we should at least at our age understand certain basics. Like, I remember ages ago learning like super simple like HTML kind of stuff. That was like long time ago. But I think it's good for us to like start brushing up on things. If we're having the kids learn it, shouldn't we learn it just as much?
Yeah.
Let's make this a challenge.
Okay. Let's do it.
Oh man, this is gonna be.
I'm good at challenges.
I think you are. I think you're a quick learner. I tend to be like, I already know that I'm probably gonna struggle with this, but the more I struggle, I think that's something worth learning, because I see the value of that, and like in so many, like it's just a part of so many different. No matter what you do, I think you're gonna come across that, a need for coding, whether it's something that's already built out there that you're like leasing or renting, or just buying a program that does it for you, or you're needing to interact with someone that understands that. But to be able to speak some of that language, I think is important.
Yeah, super important.
Let's look into this. I think so, right? You're never too old to learn things. I've met people who have started.
Well, we have it in our backyard. It's the Oneness Academy. They're learning it. We just gotta peek in, see what's happening.
I've seen it. It's a little bit like it's definitely more simplistic, like really broken down, like just arrows and images for the kids. But no, we can learn probably.
You get to use
images. I've seen it. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know much about how coding works. I just know, essentially, you're trying to tell the machine what you want to happen, and you have to communicate that in an efficient manner, and you have to use arrows and whatnot.
It's really sad to hear us talk about it.
Well, I mean, this is how you see our progress, because
I know
it's very. I don't know.
Mine's very basic level.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with the terminologies because I had to hire web developers and coders and front end and back end and like different kind of coding languages that were necessary. So I have a very general understanding of it, but not to the fine details. So this is what I want to drill down to ultimately, and not feel like I'm at the mercy of people who know it better than I.
Sure. Because
I've also dealt with groups that I wouldn't say it's their fault, but like if we're not even if we can't code, but the ability for us to be able to communicate what we want properly, so that a coder can understand what you're saying is even important.
Yeah. Because
what you think you're saying could be taken a completely different way from the other side.
Absolutely. So if you can communicate to them in their language,
right,
you'll be a lot more efficient.
It's just basically we're learning another language. I need to pick this up like I was trying to learn Spanish.
Okay. All right.
Well, there's a lot of concepts that need to be understood as well, but on a very practical level, learning how to communicate those things. I mean, with Oneness Labs, there's a lot to learn there. Let's take this on. Let's give ourselves 18 months.
18 months? Okay.
Let's give ourselves 18 months to become proficient.
Proficient? Okay, that's fair.
Not even okay. Proficient may still be overstepping this. Maybe at least have a solid fundamental understanding. How about that?
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Fair enough.
I think that's doable. Do it. I'm so glad you're down to do that with me. I'm actually being entirely serious.
Yeah, I'm super serious.
But I need to like.
I brought it up. I'm trying to make friends with coders. I mean, you're like, why don't you just learn coding, dude? But yeah, it's probably.
Well, I know that I've even talked when I was more into HR. I actually went to like different coding camps they had invited me to talk to the coders who were like newly minted coders, like from their certification program, that were looking for advice on how to find jobs, right? So I would give them pointers on what we look at when we look at the resumes during the interview process, because I oftentimes work with the hiring manager who's in our tech departments and what they're usually looking for. And yeah, usually those coding camps are like 6 months long. You're working on different you learn the basics, you work on different projects. Sometimes you work in group projects as well, and then like you would present that. You can even put that on your resume as things that you know how to do. So I know generally how it works and what that costs. But yeah, it's definitely a commitment to learn all that. I don't know if any of this is going to be used, but this is just me telling you what I've learned about it.
Okay. It all gets used.
Does this?
Yes.
Does all of this get
All of
used?
it.
I still, to this day, have not watched this, which is why I know I'm hampering my own.
This is why you're still doing it, because you haven't watched yourself.
If I watch it, but that's how you improve, right?
Yeah.
I know. I have been very bad about watching any of these podcasts or any of the videos, because that's still a part of me that I'm not ready to face yet, which is to be able to view all my flaws so in my face and without too much self-judgment.
You're
like,
quite crisp. There are not that many flaws. You're pretty good. Yeah, for real.
Crispy.
Crisp. Solid.
Solid. I'm
Solid.
crispy. That's probably the nicest thing that anyone's told me all week.
Oh, okay, great. Happy to fill in that role for you.
I'm excited.
Greatest comment of the week.
Greatest comment. I'm crispy. I'm crisp.
Crisp.
Yeah. No, but that's how I'm supposed to learn, right? By reviewing, by being critical without beating myself up. I need to watch this. Like I've seen you edit these videos, and I'll look over your shoulder, and I'm like,
It's hard to watch sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I don't like it fully, but I have found it very useful. I would have thought that I'd be doing more ums and knows and things like that. But
I think we've gotten pretty good at not doing that kind of thing, of not using fillers. In my daily life, I try to be very conscious of not saying like, so.
Yeah.
And if I find myself rambling, which I occasionally catch myself doing in the middle of a podcast, but I'll try to just end it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I should just stop mid-sentence.
Well, I need you here because sometimes I think I veer off course and I don't remember where I was going with something, so I need you to like reel me back in. I'd like to get to the point where we're more unified as to what we're going to talk about, and then we kind of come with a purpose. And we're like,
we haven't though. Every time I ask you, like, what do you want to talk about? You're like, no,
I just want to do it.
First of all, if that's what you want, I even asked you in the beginning of these things, like, what do you want to do? And you're like, when we get there, we'll talk about it when we get there. Like, you don't want to plan it out. I try because and I tried not to impose my style because I tend to like to come to the table with more talking points. Or with more of like at least a framework for what we're going to discuss. Yeah. And every time I've tried, you're like, let's not, let's not do that. Let's see how we feel about it.
I know. It's I want
and I'm
it
like,
to be.
Sure, let's do it your way and see how this goes.
Well, at least it's getting done. That's how I feel about it. Like if it's too much planning, then there's no doing, and I just want to do. But now. We have a little bit of momentum. We can do some tweaking. We can add some J skills, some judgment skills to our...
Some J skills. When at first you said J skills, I thought you meant J, like your skills. Well, add your skills.
No,
judgment, like in terms of the personality profile.
Even though you're a perceiver, but I know you have a strong J.
I do.
You have learned a J. You have put a lot of dedication into developing
I'm a black belt in J.
There you go.
I learned how to do it.
So I'd like to have a very simple, but still firm strategy where we come with some sort of plan. I had some sort of plan.
I have a plan. Let's come in with a plan. Is what you're saying.
Where I want to lay it out in a way where we say what we're gonna say, and then we say
The things that we said we're gonna say.
and then we say what we said, like just like a compact. You understand what I'm trying to? I think you can help me better than I can help myself. In this
No. I think you can dig yourself out. Go. You're more than
Yeah.
capable.
Okay. Well, that's the plan.
That is the plan.
That's the plan.
We have a plan to make a plan
We haven't put it
to
in
enact
effect
the
yet.
plan.
We haven't put it in effect yet.
You sound like how our state deals with coronavirus. We have a plan to deal with the plan.
That's how they get away.
To make a plan to enact the plan.
So it's not very helpful.
No. I'm glad that we're even thinking about a plan.
Okay, great.
No, I'm
Great.
giving you a hard time right now, but I like moving in this. I think this is
We're on
progress.
Spotify now.
No, we're
world-
not.
We're world famous.
Get out of here. No, we're not.
Yeah.
Did you actually put us on Spotify? Lord.
We're coming up on iTunes now.
God. Who's going to be listening to this?
Trust me.
Some sad, lonely soul
No.
who just wants to have some kind of human connection and will hear any nonsense so long as they feel included in the
Is
conversation.
that who you want listening to us? I don't want that guy listening to us.
I'm not exclusionary.
I would like just
I wouldn't say don't listen to us.
happy, hopeful,
I think all
understanding,
all people, even the
rational
sad,
thinkers.
especially the sad people, should listen to us because then it would get them on the road to something happier. Don't you
Okay,
think?
Great.
Why exclude them? Why should sad people?
I just don't want to hear the complaining, but I guess.
Oh, I see. But here's the thing: even if they were to complain or downvote or whatever it is, I don't think that you could do so in Spotify. But you know what? They should be. Even if it makes you upset, you should listen to it sometimes, just to get another point of view.
Okay.
Sometimes
Makes
I
sense.
like to listen.
I do like holes poked in my beliefs.
I like holes poked because it makes me think about it more strategically. I also like just putting it out there for people, even if they don't agree. I'm like, well, at least you heard me. You may not listen, you may not agree, but at least I put it out there so you've been exposed to it. And it may not resonate with you now, but maybe down the line, which is how I approach relationships sometimes. Like, I know some people in my life, when they tell me something that's going on, and I can see how it could be done differently, I will say, there's this other thing that you could do or think about it, and they may totally reject it. But at least I said it. Because I love you, and you may not hear it from anyone else because they don't want to waste their time or breath. But I love you enough to be a victim of your negligence or even rejection. I don't mind. I can handle it for the most part.
That's a great outlook.
Thank you.
Very positive.
You're welcome. So haters out there, they exist because I exist. I don't imagine everyone will like me. I'm actually quite used to most people not liking me. Most, yeah. I was not a popular kid. I wouldn't say anyone outright hated me, but I definitely would not say that I was well loved. But that's okay. I love myself now.
I love myself now.
You can't see me. I'm hugging myself right now. I give myself the best kinds of hugs.
Powerful.
Power tools.